Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another requested video. It's kind of just answering a few questions in one. It's mainly about how stressful the job is, and by that I don't mean like it's a really stressful job. I'm going to talk about that now. Like, somebody has genuinely said, can you do a video covering like stress of the job, if there's any bitchiness in practices, just things like that in general. So that's what this video is going to be about today. If you guys are interested in watching it, then keep watching. Okay, so this was the full comment that I got to ask me to do this video. So it says, I'm looking to start a dental nursing traineeship. I think that's supposed to be apprenticeship. But I'm worried about stress/pay conditions and maybe even bitchiness, as I've heard a few negative things about being a dental nurse, mainly reading employee reviews on various websites, but also from friends who know dental nurses. Could you do a video on this? Thanks. Most of that is all practice dependent. So for me personally, the job, I've talked about this before, it's not a job that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. It's just something to kind of get by. It's a good qualification to have, something to fall back on, but it's not a job I want to be doing for the rest of my life. However, I know that people are going to be saying, so why don't you just quit? The place that I work, I love where I work. The people are great. The dentist, I mean, one dentist in particular, I have a great relationship with. I have a great relationship with my manager and all the nurses. It's just such a lovely, friendly atmosphere. I mean, yes, you do get some days where the atmosphere is a bit weird, but in general, nobody is leaving because of the staff, put it that way. We don't have a big turnover of staff either. I've been there. I'm the newest one there, and I've been there for 2 years, and the only reason I was hired is because somebody went on maternity leave. They have come back from maternity leave and I still have a job there because they kind of created one for me, but they do not have a big turnover of staff. I mean, our manager's been there 32 years. I think the longest running nurse has been there something like 14 years or something. There isn't a big turnover. There isn't really ever anybody new. Like I said, I'm the newest. I've been there 2 years. The only reason I was hired is because somebody went on maternity leave, so they needed to fill that. Maternity girl came back, but I'm still there. Not because anybody left, just because they literally created a position for me. So I was very, very, very lucky. The job itself, yes, it's stressful, mainly because if you're running late, it gets stressful. Patients can make it stressful, especially if they're rude. When you're really, really, really busy and you've got to squeeze people in, it gets stressful, again, from the whole like running behind thing. So as a job, yes, it's stressful, but there are much, much more stressful jobs out there. I mean, this is more, obviously it's mental rather than physical, but you have to be on the ball because you need to do the notes, or if your dentist writes the notes, you still need to be listening and making sure you know what's going on, so you know what to give the dentist, etc, etc. So the job itself, it is stressful, but it's definitely not enough to be like, do not do this job, it's horrible, you will hate it, just don't do it. It's just a stressful job, but not something that you are really stressed about and you've got to come home and have a glass of wine every single night. I mean, I'm sure some people do, which is fine, but for me, it's not something that it's high on my stress list, let's say. Again, this could be practice dependent, so I'm very, very lucky with where I work. So because of the fact that I'm friends with everybody and everybody's really nice, it makes it a less stressful environment to be in, especially because I've got such a great relationship with my manager, and so do most of the staff there. It's very, very easy to kind of go to her and say, this is a problem we have, please can you help me sort it out? So if you are stressed about something, then you can just go to a senior member of staff, and they are, in my practice, they are always happy to help you. Pay conditions, again, different to every practice. So I'm on £9.50 an hour. I've only been on this for a couple of months, so I definitely didn't start on this. When I very first started as an apprenticeship, I was on £5.12 an hour I started on. But again, practice dependent. Some practices only pay you minimum wage, which is like £2 something, £3 something, not a lot at all. So this is the only thing to consider if you are going to be a trainee dental nurse or in an apprenticeship. they can pay you as little as minimum wage. So try and find somewhere that will pay a little bit more. Like I was on £5.12 an hour, although that is only a very small amount of money, it's much better than minimum wage. You will then just go up and up and up. I don't think there's ever a point where they say, we're never going to put your money up again. I mean, it will get to a point where you might have to wait like 10 years to get a pay rise if you're still in the job after that long, but generally it does keep going up. After I was on £5.12, while I was still a trainee dental nurse, I went up to £6.50, and this for me felt like a huge jump because I was going over £1 an hour more. Still not a lot of money, but it is a big jump from £5.12 to £6.50. And I think this was after maybe 6 months of me doing the job. After that, I qualified, and had I have stayed at my practice, I don't know how much I would have been on, but I moved practices to where I am now, and I was put straight onto £8 as a probationary period, and then after 3 months they told me it would go up. So I was on £8 for 3 months for a probationary period, and then I went up to £8.50. I was on £8.50 until last year when I went up to £8.75, and then this year, I believe in July, I went up to £9.50. Again, this felt like a massive jump because it was 75p an hour, so almost £1 an hour more than what I was getting. This makes a huge difference to wages. So currently still am on £9.50. Maybe in 2 years' time I will go up to £10 an hour, I don't know. But I'm happy where I am now. £9.50 seems like a reasonable amount for the job that we do. So yeah, that kind of covers pay as much as I can talk about. It's so practice dependent. There isn't a set amount that a dental nurse will get. There isn't a set amount that an apprenticeship nurse will get. It's just practice dependent, and my pay is kind of reflected on how well I'm doing and how quickly it moves up. So I'm very lucky in the 2 years that I've been there to go up £1.50 an hour. That's quite a big jump in 2 years, especially within the last year. It's gone from £8.75 to £9.50. And also you can ask for a pay rise. I never have, but you can kind of go and say, look, I feel like I'm working really hard. I feel like I put myself out there a lot and I'm not quite sure that my pay reflects this. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if you're really confident, then you probably can, so long as you genuinely are working really hard. So that's pretty much all I can say on pay. So to cover the last little bit that was on that comment, bitchiness in the practice. Again, it's all practice dependent. So I used to work at a practice that, yes, was very bitchy. Didn't like it because it just puts you in the middle of everything, especially if you're friends with one person, friends with another person, they have an argument, you're caught in the middle of it. Don't like anything like that. I just try and be friends with everyone. It works so much better that way. In my practice now, there isn't really any bitchiness. I mean, you get the odd bits of gossip, but it's not anything like, I hate this person, I can't work with them. It's nothing like that. It's just general. We're all girls apart from the dentist. There's going to be a little bit of bitchiness everywhere you go when you're with a big group of girls, but it's nothing like when you're at school and it's bitchiness and drama like that. It's just odd bits here and there, but in general, you might go like 6 months and have a great run, and then somebody says something or somebody's not quite happy with something, little bit of gossip, then it's over and done with. It's not a huge drama, but you can have practices which is just completely the opposite. I would recommend, if you can, going to a practice where there's less staff because you get less chance of bitchiness. So I think in my practice there is maybe a total of 15 or 16 of us. I'd have to really sit and work that out, including dentists and hygienists. Nurse-wise, I think there's 5, and then 2 receptionists, one that's like generally reception and decon. It's so practice dependent. I'm just very lucky to not work in a practice where there's a whole lot of bitchiness. You will get it everywhere you go, especially if it's a big group of girls. It's really difficult to answer that question because it just depends where you go. For, in general, like, I'm worried about bitchiness. It's not something that I would be worried about if I were you. It's just, you go to the job. If you don't like where you work, find another practice. I know that sounds so much easier than it is, but it's not something that's high on the list of, well, I wouldn't take this specific job because there's bitchiness. You don't know that until you get to the practice. And if you're a person that just gets on with everybody, it makes your life a lot easier. I just get on with everybody. So for me, it's really easy to just, if I've got to take some shit, I'll just take some shit. It doesn't matter. I just get on with it. Anyway, I hope that kind of answered these questions. I know it didn't really answer them, but it's so hard because they are practice dependent. So I hope it sort of covered it. I definitely wouldn't say stress was a reason not to take a dental nursing job, because it's kind of what you make of it. Yes, some practices are more stressful than others, but again, you just got to kind of chuck yourself in there, figure out if you like it or not, then you can get out if you don't. Bitchiness is not a good enough reason not to take a dental nursing job. Again, practice dependent, but if you're just someone that gets on with everyone, you should be fine. Pay is probably the only thing that you think, I don't want to take that because it's not high enough pay. You just need to find somewhere else. So don't start a job if you're not happy with the pay they're going to be giving you. At the same time, appreciate that an apprenticeship dental nurse gets a lot less money than a qualified dental nurse. I hope this video did cover some bits for you. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!